What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. My name is Danny Marie, and today's video is going to be my first trimester recap. I can't believe it. I am finally through the first trimester. So I'm currently 13 weeks pregnant, so I'm heading right on into my second trimester, and I am happy about it because now I have more energy, which is why I decided to make this video because I have had no energy this whole entire first trimester. So I'm really happy that I'm starting to like pick back up and feel more like myself. Still not myself, but still at least, more like myself. So I'm happy about that. Excuse this room that I'm in. I am in my 18-month-old son Carter's room. He went to daycare this morning and decided to destroy the room before he left. So he left mom, something to do. So that was great. Anyways, guys, I wanted to go ahead and get into everything that I've been going through this first trimester. It has been so mentally draining for me, and I don't know if it's because I have a toddler already and he's super busy doing all the toddler little things, and I have to run behind him and do things, and it makes me more tired, and then I get less sleep. So I don't know if that's what it is, but anyways, guys, I want to get into that with you guys more and just talk about like the mental toll that it took on me. I feel like people don't really talk about that much, but I'm also going to talk about like my other symptoms and things like that. So I'm going to tell you guys everything of what I've been going through, give you guys a little update, explain like why I haven't been myself and been posting more and things like that. So yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. So I've already made a video of my early pregnancy symptoms. This was like for weeks 4 through 6 when I was super early on. So I'm going to give you guys more of like an overview of the things that I've been feeling throughout this first trimester. So the first symptom I want to go ahead and get into is nausea. So before, I'm pretty sure I told you guys I had nausea on and off, and it was like that for the first few weeks. And I remember I would get like really anxious when I wasn't nauseous, just because, I've heard before, like if you lose your symptoms, you could like have a miscarriage and things like that. All the things that make you super anxious, I was consuming, and I was like, oh no, what if I'm like losing it and things like that. So that would make me feel pretty anxious, but then the nausea would come back again. After that, I got what I wished for, and I was nauseous all the time. So that was great. As the pregnancy progressed, I continued to get more and more nauseous, and then I started vomiting, and yeah, that wasn't fun at all. I would say it was probably the worst between weeks 8 through like pretty much since last week. It pretty much, the vomiting, the nausea kind of went away for the most part. It's so much better than it was before. So I would say from about week 8 to about week 12, I was really going through it with nausea, and ginger ale is the thing that calmed it. I always kept ginger ale in the house. I remember for my first pregnancy, I would use C-bands. If you guys don't know what C-bands are, people use them like if they go on cruise ships and stuff, but they help with nausea, and they put pressure on your pressure point on your wrist. So you wear them as wristbands, and they actually help. I would say they help if you have like minimal nausea though. I wouldn't sit here and say like they work miracles, but I would say that they definitely help it go away. But this time I didn't have C-bands with me, so I actually just used ginger ale, and I tried to make sure like I continued to like snack and eat and things like that, because that actually helped me with my nausea a lot. Like I noticed that the nausea would be worse if I waited an extended period without eating. And if I did that, I would end up throwing up. I don't know why, I don't know what that is, but like if I waited for quite a bit of time from my last meal to the next one, I would end up throwing up the next meal. So that's pretty much how that went. But yeah, the nausea was pretty bad, like I said, up until about 12 weeks. Another symptom was fatigue. I was so tired this pregnancy. I mean, I was tired the last pregnancy, but that's why I said maybe it's because I have a toddler now. And I also work nights. That's another thing. So I work nights, so my sleep schedule is completely off. Some nights I work, some nights I don't. And yeah, I end up being so tired. The days that I don't work, I felt like I would only be up like 5 hours throughout the day. I would have to lean on Derek so much to like have him take Carter out to go to the park and like get some energy out, because I wasn't able to be there and be like running around and doing the things that he wants me to do. I would get exhausted so quick. Like he'd want me to push him on a tricycle or push him in his little car, and I would do it for a little bit, but I would get so tired afterwards. And I felt so bad because I just didn't have the energy to be up with him. Like I wanted to be in bed all day. Like I would be in bed all day if I could, but I couldn't, because once he's home from daycare, he wants to spend time with me. I want to spend time with him, but my body just couldn't do it. So I would probably hang out with him for like 2 hours or so, have to go lay back down, and then once it's time for him to go to sleep, I would be the one to put him to sleep so that I could have some time with him. But that made me feel so guilty as a mom. That was the worst, like not being able to be there for your toddler that usually has you there, but you just don't have the ability, or I just didn't have the ability to do anything. I just didn't feel like doing anything. I felt like that is kind of what played into it taking like a mental toll on me, because I started to go through antenatal depression. So I started to feel super depressed, and at first I was in denial. The depression really probably started at about week 7. I felt pretty down, and I think I was just like really in denial, because when I went for my 10-week appointment, I had the opportunity to, tell the nurses when they talk to you about like, are you going through any depression or like having any bad thoughts or anything? I really wanted to say something and to be honest, but I was ashamed of even feeling so bad. Like I felt really, really bad about myself. And part of it was that I wasn't being the mom that I wanted to be. I wasn't being the partner that I wanted to be. I wasn't doing and being productive like I wanted to be. And then it turned into like a cycle of like feeling bad about myself and feeling like I'm not doing enough and just like really beating myself down. Like it felt like my mind was going against itself. That's the best way that I can like describe it. And I've never like went through depression in that way of where I couldn't really link it with anything bad that was going on, because everything was good, I mean, I didn't have anything to really complain about, but it was just a lot on me mentally, and it was really taking a toll on my mind. And I really started to go through depression. And even after 10 weeks, after going to my appointment, I continued to feel depressed, and it got even worse. Like I started to feel hopeless and worthless and tell myself I was worthless. Like I remember even talking to my partner, like, I feel like my kid deserves a better mom. Like I feel like you deserve a better partner. Like, I was really going through it and like crying, sobbing my eyes out. I'd be walking around the neighborhood crying, like boohoo crying. Like it was really, really dark for me, like really, really dark. And I feel like that cloud thankfully has like kind of surpassed, I hope. At least I feel a lot better now that I'm in my 13th week, like a whole lot better than I thought that I would have felt, because when you're in it, you feel like that's gonna be where you're at forever. I felt like I'm just gonna be sad like the whole pregnancy. This is just what it's gonna be. So it was really, really hard for me. That was probably my hardest symptom, and that's why I said it took a huge toll on me mentally, because my last pregnancy wasn't like this. I had a little bit more anxiety last pregnancy, so I'm not gonna say I didn't go through anything mentally, because I did have that anxiety of like, is the baby okay? Is it gonna be okay? How is it gonna work out? You know, that, but I didn't have this really down, like, I felt like a rain cloud was over me and I couldn't get out of it. I didn't feel that way then, but yeah, I mean, I definitely experienced it now. And for anybody out there that's dealing with any type of depression during pregnancy or even after, but I feel like people talk about postpartum depression a lot more than they talk about going through depression in your pregnancy. Guys, it's a real thing. Please talk to your healthcare provider. I actually ended up making an appointment with my healthcare provider recently to talk about it, because like I said, the last appointment, I was too ashamed to say anything. And I don't even know where all that shame came from, because I know that depression exists and I know, like, I've struggled with anxiety and things like that before, but it was just, I just felt so much shame. I couldn't even get it out. So I ended up making an appointment later on, and I went to that appointment and it went wonderful. I talked to my midwives, and one of them was telling me that she ended up having to go on medication when she was pregnant because her depression got so bad. And she said the doctor prescribed a medication for her that didn't have many side effects or that wouldn't affect the baby. And that gave me a lot more relief. It made me feel like if I did have to go that route of medication, then it wouldn't be the end of the world. And sometimes I think you need that, you know, coming from somebody else, because in your mind, you know, just like things that you've heard and like how you were brought up. I know, like, in my family, when you take medication and for mental health and things like that, it can have like a really bad stigma. So sometimes it's really good to like get out of that and talk to somebody that's went through it. So that was nice. And then I also talked to another one of my midwives who had 5 children, and she was telling me how with her second one it took a really big mental toll on her. So just talking with them even helped, and they gave me resources to join support groups for moms, for pregnant moms, for new moms, all that. So I'm definitely going to be looking into joining a support group for moms. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm thinking about going back to therapy for a little bit. So anyways, going to the appointment really helped me. So I just wanted to make sure you guys knew, if you guys are feeling like that, then please talk to your healthcare provider. I'm telling you, it can make all the difference. So anyways, prenatal depression was huge for me. Another symptom was definitely sore boobs. Like, at first, in the very beginning, I didn't really have sore boobs like that. Like, they were a little sore, but I was like, I wonder why my boobs aren't sore. Like, a lot of people are saying their boobs are so sore. But later on in the pregnancy, like now even, they are really sore. Like, now they are definitely tender and sore. They're getting bigger, which is great. You know what I'm saying? It got a little, you know, little something there, because after I was done breastfeeding my last one, they went like that. So they starting to, you know what I'm saying, perk up a little bit. Feel pretty good about that, you know. What's another symptom? Oh, another symptom I went through was bloating. Like, bloating was terrible for me. And with my last pregnancy, I'm sorry I always keep referencing my last pregnancy, but that's all I really have to reference. But yeah, so with my last pregnancy, I didn't have bloating like I did with this pregnancy. And I felt like that was the downside about the ginger ale, is because of the carbonation. I felt like that made it worse. That made the bloating worse. It made the nausea better, but it made the bloating worse. So it was kind of like a pick your poison thing. So I don't know, if you have nausea, maybe do like a ginger tea instead of the carbonated ginger ale. I don't know, maybe that'll help a little bit more. But the bloating was terrible for me. Like, it would be painful. I wouldn't be able to sleep. It made me feel even more sluggish and just like I didn't want to do anything. My digestive system felt like it was going so slow. The constipation was real. Like it was terrible. And what made the constipation even worse was I'm on prenatal vitamins and they have iron in it. So that didn't make it any better. So of course I know you gotta increase your water intake and all that good stuff, but it just felt like nothing was working. So I still struggle with the constipation and all that stuff. And everything is getting a little better, but like I said, like that's definitely a thing. And then another symptom was having to pee a lot. So now let's go ahead and get into my cravings. So some of the things that I've been craving this first trimester has been lemonade. Lemonade has been a craving for me. I love anything sour, anything like sour straws, any type of Sour Patch Kid, those kinds of candy, which is not really usual for me. I don't usually eat candy at all. So that has been a thing. I don't know, the sour tasting anything has been great for me. Another thing is pizza. Like I actually spoke about this on one of my videos too. Pizza, it is the one thing that I can probably eat all the time. I can probably eat it morning, noon, or night if you let me. It is so good. Yeah, I love pizza. And then another thing is hot wings. And this has started like at the end of the first trimester. So this probably just started about 2 weeks or so ago. Hot wings, like I just have to have them. They are so good and they have to be really spicy. And that just makes my heart sing. And yeah, I just love my hot wings. Another thing is tomatoes. I just like tomatoes with salt and pepper on it. And then I make this like cucumber wrap that's really good. I've craved salads. I'm not a huge salad person. That is not me. If I do get a salad, I would usually be forcing myself to get a salad, but I crave salads now. And what else is another thing? Fruit. So watermelon has been a thing for me. I really love watermelon right now. So those are some of my biggest cravings. Aversions, I would say, is probably beef. I'm not huge on like beef. With my last pregnancy, loved beef. That's probably all I ate. I needed beef tacos and huge hamburgers and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm really not huge on meat in general unless it's hot wings. And you know, that's kind of weird to me. I usually order sides when I go somewhere. Like I'll order fries or mashed potatoes and macaroni and cheese, but nothing as the entree. That's pretty much how my meals have been. A lot of carbs. I still like a lot of carbs. So those are my main cravings. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and get into, I want to show you guys the ultrasound pic. So this was my 10-week ultrasound pictures. I don't know if you guys can see it, but let's see if I can zoom in. I actually got a 3D one. I was surprised they gave me 3D ones. And then these are some of the other 2D ones. But yeah, I was so excited to see the baby. I haven't seen the baby since then, but I've heard the baby. So I told you guys I went to my appointment to talk about depression. Well, after we got done talking about depression, they let me listen to the baby's heartbeat with a Doppler, which I actually didn't know that they would be able to hear it with a Doppler already. And I actually got to feel the baby for the first time at 13 weeks, which is crazy because I didn't feel Carter until I was probably like 18 weeks. So this is what happened. So they were, you know, doing the Doppler thing and they were trying to find the heartbeat. It's a little bit harder because obviously the baby's very small. So she was feeling around and she kind of like cornered the baby and she had to kind of touch my stomach and move it up a little bit. Like, I don't know, she kind of made the baby stay in position a little bit so she could hear it. And we got to hear the heartbeat. It was around the 160s and I got to feel the baby and she did too. She was like, oh, it feels like the baby's kicking me. and I thought I was crazy because I was like, I feel some fluttering or something going on. So I thought that was pretty crazy because I didn't feel Carter until way later. So that was really sweet and nice. To anytime you get to hear your baby's heartbeat and feel it and all that good stuff, it just makes you remember why you're doing this in the first place. Like, why are you going through this hard pregnancy? You're like, oh yeah, for that. You know, it's the best thing ever. So anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and insert a picture of my bump now. So yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are watching and you're pregnant and you finished your first trimester, girl, you did that. It ain't easy. I'm proud of you. You're superwoman, literally. And until next time, guys, bye.